Hey guys, my name is Sharfy, and I am the co-founder of Gainforest. And today we'll be talking about radical transparency for the refi movement. I have a video clip, a sound clip right here, and I'd like you guys to just take a moment and listen to the sounds of the rainforest. When you're listening to these sounds, what are the images that come to mind? What are the feelings that you get to feel? Personally, I imagine myself sitting under a lush canopy and listening to the sounds of the insects and birds around me. Nature is essential for human existence and for good quality of life. Most of nature's contributions to people are not fully replaceable, and some are irreplaceable. When we deforest land, we lose not only the tree and the stored carbon inside of these rainforests, but also the biodiversity, all of those sounds that you just heard earlier on, the insects, the birds, and all the other animal wildlife species. The natural world is deteriorating in rates unparalleled in human history. As you can see right now here, this is open source data from satellite images. This is just Google Earth. And from 1984 to 2020, you can see the deforestation happening just like wildfire or like cancer, as you can see. It just keeps happening. And some of these deforestation is illegal deforestation, and some are actually legal deforestation in order to clear land for cattle and crops. Deforestation is a key driver of the climate crisis. We have lost, in the past 50 years, over half of the world's rainforests. And if deforestation were a country, it would be the third largest emitter behind China and the US. Through deforestation, the Amazon rainforest has turned from a carbon sink into a carbon source. And as I said, 18% of global anthropogenic or man-made emissions are because of deforestation. This is a crisis not just for us in Paris, but it's also a crisis for the indigenous peoples. We need to remember that the indigenous peoples are the people who have lived in these lands for years and years, and they are struggling to protect their homes. It is a humanitarian crisis. 500 million people live in these forests, and in order to protect their land, they are under threat. Miners kill indigenous leader in Brazil during invasion of protected land. Gainforest was in Paraguay earlier this year. This is the Gran Chaco region, and this is an image that we have captured using our drone data. On the left, you can see the national rainforest, the national protection of, it's protected by the Paraguay National Park, sorry. And on the right, you see legal deforestation. These are cattle farms. And you can see trucks and trucks coming in the middle of the night, bringing in cattle into these farms. It's such a stark contrast between the protected national rainforest, national forest, and the parts where we find food for people. Deforestation is changing our climate. It's harming people in the natural world. We must and can reverse this trend. So how do we do this? We can't value what we can't measure, and we're failing to capture nature's contributions. Right now, third-party MRV monitoring, reporting, and verification is manual and expensive. People go on the ground to measure tree data. They literally, as you can see on the left there, measure the diameter of the trees to figure out, what is the amount of carbon that is stored in there. We take tree metrics on the ground, take samples of the species, and we put them into a bunch of equations to estimate the carbon stock. And this is how we fund the protection of our rainforests. It's extremely expensive and it's inaccessible for many projects. The initial cost for third-party certification is $35,000, and this is Vera, one of our leading carbon certifications. We need to make sure that our donations are linked to results, and results-based payments require monitoring, reporting, and verification. Right now, 25 billion public funds are reserved for results-based payments, but the claims are slow, we're missing trust, we're missing transparency, and in the blockchain world, we are really great at transparency, so let's leverage that and let's figure out how to make funds accessible to local communities. As an extension to what I was saying earlier, this is the cost of carbon credit accreditation in percentages. The blue bar at the bottom, you can see right there, the project cost is how much actually goes into the project. Verification and validation takes a huge chunk of that as well. And there's always intermediaries in the middle, brokers, bank fees. They take up a huge amount. And when you're donating to these projects, you want to make sure that you get the most impact for your money. I've been talking a lot about carbon for the past couple of minutes. And in Web3, we've talked a lot about carbon credits. How do we get them on chain? How do we create a marketplace for them? And how do we store liquidity for them? But carbon is only one part of the equation. As you have heard in the sounds that I have showed earlier, there is also biodiversity that we have to take into account. We have to take into account the clean water that is provided, or the recreation, or even just the aesthetics, being able to imagine yourself or going to these forest areas and being able to see the animals. So it also controls flooding, it cools down our temperatures. There's just so much more to the equation than just carbon. So how do we actually take into account all of these other variables? Let's listen again one more time. This is the sound of a forest project that is a reforestation project where we plant one species of trees, eucalyptus trees. It's a monoculture, and you don't get to hear all of the sounds of the insects and the birds that you heard earlier. This is how it actually looks if you're sitting down under this canopy. It's eucalyptus trees. It grows really fast. It stores carbon, but we're missing all of the other variables that we talked earlier. So let's talk about next generation MRV and tokenizing the impact with one simple trick. So in Gainforest, we link donations directly to impact. And in order to measure this impact, I will talk about how the donations in a bit. But in order to measure the impact, we use satellite-based data as a first layer. This is accurate to 10 meters per pixel. Drone-based data, which is accurate to 50 centimeters per pixel, and field-based data, which is the manual collection and taking photos of the trees. As you go to higher resolution, it becomes more and more costly. This is our base satellite imagery as a global base layer. We have a partnership with Restore, and I will show you our analysis with Restore later on. These are our drones. We use rapid drone kits. The specific one that you see on the right is a 3D canopy map model that we have with our project in Paraguay. These are low-cost drones, and we train the people on the ground, these communities, to figure out how to use these drones and to be able to have our on-ground monitoring data. as another form of on-ground data, we also have a mobile app to digitize the tree, and it detects the tree species and estimates the diameter at breast height. So how do we tokenize impact? How do we make sure that our donation is actually having the most amount of impact as possible? How do we make sure that we get rid of all of those fees that I showed you earlier about that are given to brokers and to third-party verification systems? Well, we store our donations in an escrow account. So if I'm a donor and I want to donate to the Gainforest platform, the money is actually not sent directly to the communities. It's held in this intermediary escrow account and is only given out every month or every couple of months, it depends on the project, through proof of care. And proof of care is what I will be showing you later in a demo. These donations are captured in an impact certificate. So once we know, once we have verified that impact has actually happened, then the donor gets an impact certificate where you actually show the value beyond carbon. You get to see biodiversity, water metrics as metadata. And the amazing thing about this impact certificate, which I will show you later, is that they are also dynamic. So these are the NFTs. I donate into the platform. We created this for our project in Paraguay. Right now, everything looks great. It's green. If we find out that something has happened to the project, the image changes. This is a dry image. If there's wildfire, hopefully we never get to use this. Then you see that that the project is burning down. And all of our methods is decentralized. We're moving towards decentralized sciences. Everything is open source data. So if anyone wants to fact check us, everything is open source. You get to see our platform. We're really up for transparency, and let's research together. We're also semi-finalists for the Rainforest X Prize with a collaboration with LabDAO and ETH Zurich. We're also looking for community leaders as advisors. So if there's anyone on the ground that would like to represent, who knows someone who would like to represent the communities that we're trying to help, please come and join us. We empower local communities with technology to measure one of their valuable assets, nature. So let me show you a demo of our platform. I think it might be much easier for you to see what's going on. Hope you get to see it. These are our projects, our first pilot projects, the Defenseros del Chaco area and the Kayapo area. Please keep in mind that this is still in beta testing mode, so you guys get a first view at how we're going to see it. We also show external projects. These are projects that we have these are NCTs. Actually, we've taken the liberty of looking at token protocols, NCTs. All of this is stored on the blockchain, so we get to see the associated Vera carbon credit ID. These are the Vera carbon credits that you actually get from token right now when you're buying tokenized carbon. These are the actual projects. And one of the things that are very interesting is that some of these some of these projects have shape files, which you can upload into our platform. This one is a very interesting one because it's pointing to the desert. As a reforestation REDD project, you should not be showing a shapefile of the desert, but there are some that are pretty good. This one is in Brazil. It's all green, it's great. Another one in Congo. Some of them do not have complete data available, so they have PDF files. You can go on to the Vera website and actually see all of this yourself. Some of them have PDF files with hand-drawn boundaries of the forest projects, and yeah, they just don't have any geospatial data that we can analyze. So we want to make everything as transparent as possible. Let me show you how we analyze this. We also have, so these are analyses in progress, but we also have, we also try to identify potential issues such as the baselines or whether these projects are actually doing what they're supposed to do, whether they're actually protecting the rainforest. Because when you issue carbon credits, it is based on the premise that you will store these carbon and be able to protect the rainforest. So let's make sure that that's actually what's happening. So as I said, we've had a partnership with Restore, and this is one of those projects that I showed you. This is 1650. As you can see here, it looks like it's definitely being protected. There's deforestation right around it. So additionality-wise, you know that this project is actually being protected. However, you can see there's actually been deforestation through time. This is how it looks in 2003, no deforestation at all. Slow growth of deforestation, and some even intruding inside the project borders. So this is a tree cover loss per year. And if you're interested, this is the associated Vera project, as well as all of their PDFs, if you would like to research on it yourself. But enough about that. Let's figure out how we actually can donate and have real impact. So say I want to donate to the Defensores del Chaco project, which is in Paraguay. I will go into here and I can choose to fund this project, and as a receipt, I get an NF tree. This is the NF tree as you get. We have different tiers, white, silver, or gold. We are currently on Solana and we are Web3 first, but we hope to eventually make this more accessible for people in the Web2 space as well, as we mature as a product. This is the current escrow balance, the current forest cover, so I come and I want to donate, and you know when the next fund release date would be and how much it would be. So let's monitor that project site. We'll let this load for a bit, and I'll just scroll down. Yeah, so this is the project site that I'm talking to you, that I told you about. Forest cover in 2012. Deforestation happening right next to it. So we know that this is definitely an important site to protect. Estimated baselines, estimated forest covers. As long as the estimated forest cover is above 75%, then we will release the funds up to them. And all of our data is stored on IPFS. This is the raw data, our raw analysis. So everything is open source. You can edit and you can see all of our algorithms. And also as a reward, you get to see your the recent wildlife cameras. This is one that's really one of my favorites. It's of a capybara. And all of this encompasses, it becomes proof of care. As you can see, this is again the recent drone images and project funding history to make it as transparent as possible. You got the transaction ID, the amount that is stored, and the date. Let me show you the, thank you. Let me show you the NF trees. So depending on how much you choose to donate, you can, if you only donate a small amount, we want to make this accessible for everybody. If you want to donate just a small amount, we give you a satellite image as a donation receipt. You also get to see, data subscription to the Sentinel-2. Yeah, this is just if you want to donate $5 or something. But as you donate more and more, for our biggest donors, we airdrop them. You get the capybara as a. This is also a video, actually. So. they're not just images. NFTs can be more than images. So that would be for higher donors. And again, the NFTs that I showed you above, as well as updated metadata. These are dynamic NFTs. So if the forest cover changes, you can just look at your wallet and you know verifiable impact just by looking at your wallet. Tools, plant species, and estimated carbon inside. And hopefully this will never change. It will always be green. I think that's that. Yeah. Does anyone have any questions?